about things I've been saying on this podcast week after week after week after week, and that was this. I said it a few weeks ago. One way you can truly know if you believe something is, are you willing to die for it? That's one of the ways you'll know that you believe something. I will die for this idea. That's something you're committed to. That's something you will not compromise. That's something you will not give away. Now, I've said this to you many times. That's a way to evaluate something that's deep to you. A religious conviction, that conviction of this truth is so important that it's worthy of my life as opposed to me denying it. Now, why do I say that? Because in order for you to reach that point, and maybe you have it, maybe you're at a place in your life where it's like, I don't really have anything that I would die for. I don't really know that I found anything that's so important to me that it's more important than existence. And you don't know how to get to that place. And who really knows if they would get to that place until they're there and suddenly the gun's at your face saying, deny this or I'm going to shoot you. That's when you really know. That's when the rubber meets the road. But I wanted to say to you that one of the biggest sports highlights in the world, apparently, happens once a year, and it happened yesterday. It's called the Super Bowl. Now, it's something where people get together from all over the place. They have their chicken wings, they have their beer or their wine or their Coke or whatever you drink. And they all get together and they watch the game, and they can't wait to see what the commercials are going to look like. And they can't wait for the big old Super Bowl halftime show. And it's become this sort of religious event. I didn't know who was going to be in the Super Bowl. I actually kind of had to fall into finding it out. You know why? I don't watch football anymore. The moment that the NFL decided to try to take money from fans who simply wanted to root for their team, support a Marxist organization run by people who said they were Marxists, who extorted millions of dollars from them, and they willingly gave it away to make themselves look good, I left. I said, I will never, look at me, I'm watching you in the face. I will never watch an NFL game again for the rest of my life. To me, it is no forgiveness. You're gone. I will not have somebody hate America while they make money off it. I will not have somebody disparage America and call it evil and racist while they spew racism at me and my children in school. I will not spend money and pay one dime to an advertiser that would advertise on a group of people who states that America is systemically racist and evil, and it's baked into the culture, and the only way we can fix that is being racist towards white people. I'm not going to follow anybody like that because I hate racism, period. I hate it, period. Because I believe in the God that said we're all made in his image, and that we're all from the same family of the creator of all things, which makes us all equal, and he made us in different colors, shapes, and sizes like he did everything else that exists in the universe. I talk to you guys who are new to this and go, oh, I didn't know he's going to talk about religion. I'm not. I'm talking about something that actually claims to be the rule book for the way the world actually works, and proof that you can actually see how people behave and break apart what's actually happening in real time, so you can expose the darkness, expel that from this carcass and stick light back in there and turn it into something beautiful and healing. So I told you guys, I'm not watching NFL, and I didn't. And I will not watch the Super Bowl. I'm not going to watch it again. I'm not bowing a knee to this. How soon are we going to forget how they treated America and the flag and our national anthem? When sports was designed to be one thing we could all just watch, root on a team, and all be one. And they screwed it up because left screws up every stinking thing it touches. So I didn't watch it. I will never watch it again. I will never watch another NBA game. And I grew up watching the Lakers and the Celtics dynasty. And I was a Laker fan. My dad was a Celtics fan. He loved Larry Bird because we're from Indiana. Larry Bird's from Indiana. Great player. Great basketball back then. I'll never watch it again. I'll never watch it again. My point is, I took a stand for something. I cannot pretend that, oh, it's all going to go away. This is exactly what's going to happen in America. They're going to treat you like less than, like an other. They're going to treat you like a racist if you don't act a certain way. When you're not, it's a lie. And then they're going to, down the road, realize, ooh, people are not paying money to come see us anymore. Maybe let's just forget about it. And they'll forget. And they'll jump right back in because they're forgiving. They don't care. They'll forget. Some things shouldn't be forgotten. Sometimes there needs to be a price to pay for hatred. So I didn't watch the game. I don't care. It's football. I don't care. I don't care who won. Don't care. Then I come across this wide receiver who I think he was a wide receiver. I don't watch. Like I said, Christian guy who played for the Rams. Now, when I was a professional magician back in the 80s in California, the Rams were still in California. And one of the running backs for the Rams at that time was a guy by the name of Eric Dickerson, who actually has still the single season rushing record for the most rushing yards in one season. He came in, I performed magic for him, and I stole his watch right off his wrist because I used to do pickpocketing material when I did my magic. And so I stole his watch and gave it back to him miraculously. So I remember the Rams. I wanted to root for the Rams when they were in Los Angeles because I was a Dodger fan and was, since I was 3. My father gave me the Dodgers. That's what sports are supposed to do, something you pass on from generation to generation. And they ruined it. And I want to ask you guys who are watching me, and some of you, I don't have to ask the question, but some of you, I do want to ask you to ask yourself, have you gone ahead and said, I'll watch anyways? Why? Why don't you care how they treated our national anthem? Then I went to find out, and again, just kind of trying to get a sense of what happened so I could talk about it, that Eminem, the one white guy, kneeled during his halftime performance. Again, if you watched it, you paid for that. You invested in that. You gave your approval of that. I'm not going to do it. We have to decide what can't be compromised. What can't be compromised. I suppose it's possible if the NFL's commissioner said, folks, we were trying to be sensitive to racism, but in doing that, we were disrespectful to our national anthem, to our flag, and to Americans who were hardworking and didn't want that. We want to apologize. We ask for forgiveness. We are a private business. We are not going to let anybody disrespect our flags or our country anymore. Afterwards, they want to get off and leave their game and go out into the public and do whatever they want and say what they want. I'm all for them. That's freedom. That's freedom. Do it. Well, not there. Not when you're supposed to be someone working for an owner of this team any more than you're supposed to be going out parading, some sort of anti-American sentiment in any business. I mean, there's decorum that is expected that we don't allow anybody else to do. And the lies that took place as these Canadian truckers were literally told that they were homophobic and they were racist and they were white supremacists by their prime minister, a full-blown, cancerous, pathetic, sociopathic, I don't even know how to say it, what?
You're just that seething mad?
I'm that
just
seething
forgot
mad.
how words work?
I know how they work. I just didn't know they were going to be that challenging. This guy completely annihilated these people who just simply said, we're not going to be told what to inject in our body. But the same guy, Trudeau, said, support Black Lives Matter. You go bust windows. You go burn things up. You go beat people with the head over with bicycle locks because that's a good cause. And it's a peaceful protest. Listen, everybody is dropping mandates. London, England has dropped the mandates. No back. I know a guy there that wanted to bring me in. I told you this last week. Wanted to bring me in and perform there and do a whole series there. The vaccine mandate's gone, masks gone. Lots of 3 or 4 different countries have gotten rid of it. Now, some of the blue state governors are saying, "Oh, the science has changed." You liar! You see that nobody wants what you have. We are sick of your vomit that you have given to us to destroy this nation. We're on to you. We're not going to forgive what you did. We're not doing it. Doesn't mean you don't forgive humans. I will not forgive what you did. You must be voted out of office. You must cease to exist as a party. You are pure, absolute, pure corruption. And by the way, a lot of Republicans are too. We now see that the Clinton campaign actually paid people to go in and bug Trump towers and try to get a line on Trump so they could try to push this Russian narrative. It's now been proven. Media's not talking about it. That isn't just corruption, folks. That is pure propaganda. Pure propaganda. We're not America anymore, guys. It's already happened. You can't trust anybody. You can't trust. There's nobody you can look to and say they're giving us information so we can mobilize. Because that's the biggest thing. I've said this to you before. What good is the Second Amendment if you can't mobilize people to defend yourselves? If you try to talk to each other and say, "Let's all get together and go cover this segment of the city and defend ourselves," and they just take it down. How do you do it? What do you do? What do you do when technology says we are for the leftist too? We're capitalists. We're making billions, but we're going to push leftist agenda. What do you do with that type of human being? How do you learn to not buy their product? How do you learn to watch them crumble from the inside out? How do you learn how to survive when you're watching China literally starting to take over the world? That's really their mission. And we have people like General Milley who's assisting them. Traitor, treason. What do you do? What do you do? Last week I talked to you about Joe Rogan because everybody was talking about Joe Rogan. They're talking about the fact that he had had 2 doctors on who said that something's wrong with these vaccines, something's wrong with the way that the science has been done. It's been politicized. It's not actual good science. That's what they said. That's all they said. Now listen, you didn't have to agree with them. But it was interesting to hear the point of view and try to understand what they were getting at. Then someone compiled a bunch of opportunities where he was within the midst of hundreds and hundreds of these podcasts, used the N-word. But I said something, you guys, last week that I hope you haven't forgotten. And if you weren't there last week, listen carefully today. My people, Christians, have been trained in the church for the most part, but this applies to everybody. Unfortunately, they've been oftentimes trained to gauge content instead of context. And context is all that matters. What are you trying to say? What are you trying to mean? What are you trying to explain? What are you trying to navigate so we can understand this and communicate together and see if we can get a more cohesive reality so we can all understand what it is we're trying to accomplish. That's what it used to be to have an actual reasonable, deeply robust conversation. It's what's gone in America. It's gone in the world. It's what the left does. They destroy all ideas that differ from them. So it's why it's so evil. It's so evil. So I said to you guys that content is not as important as context, because every one of the clips from Joe Rogan where he used the N-word was him repeating lyrics from a song or something that Richard Pryor or some black comic had said. He was just repeating the words they used. And they clipped it out together to look like he was just saying it maliciously, and it wasn't true. Again, a lie. Again, they wanted him off the air. Again, why? Because he brings people on that proves these people are absolutely corrupt. They are absolutely out for one idea: to control and rule you and me. To rule us. Because they hold this sacred thing called truth, and they They bury it. They hide it. They seal it up. Nothing is more dangerous to the left than the idea of truth. It's, again, what Christianity is so unique. It's why it created the West as we know it. Because it stood by this one idea. Truth is sacrosanct. It's not only can you die for truth, you must be willing to die for truth.